Good evening and welcome to TVB News. Hong Kong Airlines will adjust its fuel surcharges starting from Thursday. Long-haul flight passengers will need to pay an extra $150 fuel price for a single trip. Most Night reports.
Amid the tensions in the Middle East, oil prices surged to $120 a barrel on Monday, the first time in almost 4 years. Hong Kong Airlines on Tuesday announced that the company will adjust its fuel surcharges from Thursday onward, the second time in less than 2 weeks. Passengers traveling to Europe, North America, Southwest Pacific, Middle East, Africa, and South Asian subcontinent were required to pay a fuel surcharge of $739, costing them an extra $150 every trip. The fuel price for flights to Japan and South Korea will be adjusted to $212, a 30% increase. Meanwhile, the fuel price for mainland flights will cost an extra $5 and $20 higher for travelers heading to Taiwan. An economist said that the crude oil prices could remain high for the upcoming weeks because many oil wells would require a long period of time to resume its production once they have been suspended. Moments 9, TVB News.
Some representatives of the minibus sector said the minibuses may have to increase fares owing to the rising oil prices. Despite international oil prices having dipped slightly today, some scholars noted local prices may not be able to instantly follow the global trend.
The fluctuating price of oil has now extended its impact to the city's minibuses. The chairman of a Minibus Owners Association said the cost for diesel saw a jump from $25 to $30. He stressed that many of his colleagues are starting to feel the economic pressure, with each driver losing $20 to $30 per day on average. He noted red minibuses in the city may increase their fares if oil prices rise by $1 in April. In Hong Kong, prices for each liter of unleaded gasoline imported from abroad jumped from $18 prior to the war to $24 as of Monday. Speaking about a possible return of oil prices to pre-war levels, CUHK academic Terence Chong said the city might not be able to catch up with international trends quickly, adding that any change in prices will depend on the move by the oil companies.
Oil prices remain volatile globally amid the conflict in the Middle East. With petrol costs rising, U.S. President Donald Trump reassured the American public that they will go down if Washington's military operation in the Middle East is successful. The group of 7 major industrialized powers have decided against using strategic reserves for now to counter the impact on oil prices from the Iran war. Daniel Rao has details.
Brent crude, the international standard, spiked to nearly $120 on Monday before falling back, but was still at around $90 a barrel on Tuesday. That's nearly 24% higher than when the Middle East war started on February 28th. In the US, the national average petrol price was $3.48 a gallon on Monday, up from $2.90 a month ago before the war. With petrol costs rising, US President Donald Trump reassured the American public they'll go down if Washington's military operation in the Middle East is successful.
We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. We're getting very close to finishing that, too.
The oil price surge is already worrying motorists in France, where drivers say rising fuel prices could further strain household budgets already hit by inflation. On Monday, diesel was selling for around €1.99 per litre, while SP95E10 petrol was listed at €1.86 per litre at stations in Paris. Still, the group of 7 major industrialized powers have decided against using strategic reserves for now to counter the impact on oil prices from the Iran war. Arriving at a gathering of finance ministers of the Eurozone, French Finance Minister Roland Lescure said the group is not there yet after chairing a meeting of its G7 counterparts. He did say the G7 is ready to take necessary and coordinated steps to stabilize markets. EU Commissioner for Finance Valdis Dombrovskis said it is important to work to de-escalate the conflict as soon as possible. The sooner it happens, the more contained the impact on the global economy will be. In the Chinese mainland, motorists queued outside petrol stations in Shanghai and several other major cities. Elsewhere in Asia, drivers in the Philippines also rushed to get petrol in view of the expected large pump price hike starting Tuesday. Prices are expected to rise by 17 to 24 pesos or 30 to 40 cents per litre. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said last week he plans to discuss whether he could exercise emergency authority to reduce excise taxes on petroleum products if prices reach or exceed $80 per barrel. General TV News.
Welcome back. Cathay Pacific is extending the suspension of flights to and from Dubai and Riyadh until the 31st of this month. Cathay Pacific said affected passengers can change their destinations and receive refunds. Dubai and the Middle East are major transit points for many people flying to Europe and Africa. A travel agency said if travelers need to transit through the Middle East, they would fly with other airlines. The easiest way is to find direct flights, but supply is limited and tickets are expensive, at least $45,000 more. Alternatively, travelers could find other transit locations, such as Thailand or Singapore. Australia has granted asylum to 5 members of the Iranian women's football team who were visiting the country for a tournament when the Iran war broke out. The team's silence during their national anthem before a game last week was viewed by some as an act of resistance and others a show of mourning.
Late last night, we issued 5 humanitarian visas to members of the Iranian women's soccer team. We've been preparing for this for some time. Australians have been moved by the plight of these brave women. They're safe here and they should feel at home here. The AFP have had plans in place with Commissioner Chrissy Barrett directly involved. And once it was made clear that these women wanted assistance, the Australian Federal Police moved them to a safe location where they remain. We're willing to provide assistance to other women in the team, noting that this is a very delicate situation and it is up to them. But we say to them, if you want our help, help is here, and we will provide that.
Visitors are flocking to Death Valley National Park in the U.S. to take in the rare phenomenon of superbloom. Thousands of long dormant flowers have popped through the desert soil, transforming the barren landscape. This is the result of steady rain in the fall and winter, and experts don't expect the blooms to last long. Park officials say they hope people can appreciate not only the beauty of the flowers, but also other striking features that Death Valley has to offer. Since the government rolled out its lift modernization subsidy scheme 7 years ago, enhancement work was only performed on around 1,000 lifts as of October last year. Some lawmakers suggested that authorities could adjust requirements for relevant applications, which could incentivize more property owners to participate in the program.
Mrs. Can, a resident of a 7-story building on Chunyang Street in North Point since 1976, has been using the same lift for half a century. Some local residents have raised concerns about the lift's outdated design and state of deterioration. Mrs. Can says she's worried the lift would break down, forcing her to use the stairs. She noted that the building's contractors are still unsure how to repair the aged facility, adding that the original manufacturer of the lift doesn't even exist anymore. According to the Legislative Council's latest estimates, there are currently more than 73,000 lifts in the city. Among these lifts, some 30,000 of them have been in service for over 30 years. The largest share is on Hong Kong Island, numbering over 10,800, while 9,900 are in Kowloon and another 9,000 are in the New Territories. The government had rolled out its lift modernization subsidy scheme 7 years ago, which allocated $4.5 billion to the measure. The initial goal was to improve or replace 8,000 older lifts by March this year. But as of October last year, the government only accepted 5,700 applications, with only 1,120 or so lifts having been enhanced or replaced. Under the latest budget, authorities allocated another $1 billion for the continuation of the project. The measure requires owners' corporations or collective property owners to submit an application, which could grant a maximum of $500,000 in subsidies. But some lawmakers believe some adjustments should be made regarding application requirements. Lawmaker Elaine Chick from the Hong Kong Island East constituency said owners' corporations are almost non-existent in many old buildings, which complicates the requirement for having property owners reach a consensus. She added that authorities can consider raising the subsidy limit to around $600,000, given that it takes around $1 million for each lift to be replaced or repaired.
The Immigration Department conducted a crackdown on illegal workers across Hong Kong, arresting a total of 20 people, including 14 suspected illegal workers and 6 employers suspected of employing illegal workers. The operation seized a large quantity of massage guns, nail polish, and manicure supplies. Over the past 3 days, the Immigration Department conducted raids on 19 locations, including restaurants, retail stores, nursing homes, and hotels, arresting 14 people suspected of being illegal workers or overstaying their visas. They're aged between 28 and 50, mainly of Indonesian and Filipino nationalities. Among them, 11 are current domestic helpers. 1 is a former domestic helper who overstayed her visa. In an event about artificial intelligence, Financial Secretary Paul Chan said Beijing's 15th National 5-Year Plan highlighted the development of AI in the mainland and Hong Kong.
In the 15th National 5-Year Plan, it stresses that AI should be used to empower economic and social development, enhance governance capabilities, promoting deep transformations in modes of production, and enabling revolutionary leaps in productivity. This is about embedding AI across different sectors of the community and the real economy, and using it as a catalyst for long-term, sustainable, high-quality development. We are the convergence point for mainland and international data, and we attract talents from around the world. The Greater Bay Area is where high-end manufacturing capabilities and cutting-edge technologies simultaneously reside. For AI developers and innovators, as well as businesses, Hong Kong is the place to be.
The Hong Kong Red Cross said it has received more than $530 million of donation for helping with Wong Fu Court since the fire. On Tuesday, the Hong Kong Red Cross said the organization has provided financial, medical, and psychological support to Wong Fu Court residents since November. One of its financial support measures is a 6-month cash relief scheme for 1,900 Wong Fu Court households, providing each with a sum of between $4,000 and $15,000 every month. The NGO said it would reserve $120 million for the next 5 years to support specific Wong Fu Court households. And that's the news. Thanks for watching.